Yes, I got a haircut. So, what I'm thinking about today is the idea of suffering. I just had a really nice conversation with a client of mine who has turned her suffering into something really positive. And she's done that by becoming fully accepting, or at least working toward being fully accepting of the things in her life she genuinely can't change. And we all get really tangled up with other people's business and factors and things in our life that we just don't have any control over, and we feel oppressed by these things. So she's been really working on accepting and becoming aware of the parts of her life that she just doesn't have any control over. But by doing that, she started to take full ownership over what she does have control over, and all of a sudden she's thriving. And it's taken months to get to that place, but once that clicked, she's just in this wonderful place of thriving because she's taken full ownership over what she genuinely does have some sort of capacity to affect change. If we kind of look into the background of this, there's a philosopher named Dostoevsky who really talked a lot about suffering. I would say most philosophers address the concept of suffering, and I don't claim to be any sort of expert in this. But essentially the idea is that even if you change life circumstances, even if you give people exactly what they want, they're going to find a way to suffer. And the way I look at suffering is to simply say, you are going to have some suffering in your life. As the Buddhists would say, by the attachments you have, because you have attachments, because you choose to live in the land of the living, you have attachments, and attachments are going to lead to some form of suffering. So as long as you're a person who wants to have relationships and things, you are going to experience a certain amount of suffering. But how you suffer in your life is what really is going to define you over the course of your life. How you choose to perceive and adapt to the suffering in your life is really what is going to define you. You can choose to become a victim of your suffering. You can choose to see the world as a hostile place that's always out to get you, or you can become radically accepting of the circumstances that you have no control over, whether they are broad and far-reaching or whether they're small. You can become very accepting of the things you don't have control over, so that you can focus your attention on what you do have control over, or at least what you perceive you have some control over. And what I mean by that is you can choose to practice in your mind in a certain way. You can choose to behave in a certain way. You can choose to behave in accordance with what you want. You can choose to think in accordance with what you want. You can put your attention into things like love and compassion and overcoming obstacles, rather than putting your attention into lack and anger and fear and resentment. Okay? So take the reins back from what you perceive is out of your control and become radically accepting of the things that you just have no control over. Stop trying to fix other people. Stop trying to manage other people. You do you. Let other people do them. Set good boundaries. Focus your attention on what you want and what you love. Have a wonderful day.